Welcome to the 11th and final day of the 2013 Winter Universiade, 26th edition of the event. It's all been taking place here in Italy, in the beautiful Trentino region, up in the Dolomites. A truly wonderful place to be in the run-up to the festive season. Coming up in this programme, we're going to bring you 4 medals. The grand finale of the cross-country is the 30-kilometre mass start. The Russians are looking to turn the screw on the opposition once again. Out on Monte Rondone, we have had the inaugural snowboard slopestyle. Some great shapes to look out for, and gold medals for the men and the women. And we head into the ice hockey rink to see if the overwhelming favourites Canada can make it a hat-trick of gold in the women's tournament. They face the Russians. Cross-country skiing has been one of the staple events at the Universiade since the first ever edition in Chamonix in 1960. It was just 4 events back then. These days it's 11, including the men's 30-kilometre mass start, the grand finale to this competition. The venue is Val di Fiemme, which has become synonymous with cross-country skiing over the years, hosting the World Championships on 3 occasions and also the annual Tour de Ski. The 30k mass start first entered the Universiade programme back in 1966. It was dominated by the Soviet Union. 8 gold medals in the first 10 editions. With the breakup of the Soviet Union at the end of 1991, the door opened for other nations to make their mark. Japan, Slovakia, Belarus and Italy have all taken gold, but it's the Russians who've emerged once again as the powers in the sport, with 4 gold in the last 5 editions. The Russians have won 5 gold medals in Trentino in the cross-country, 2 of those winners taking part here. Raul Shakirzianov, who took the 7.5k, as well as Emil Vokuev, who teamed up with Evgenia Oskepkova to win the mixed team sprint. Keep an eye out for 1 or 2 of those as they make their way around. Vladislav Skobelev is another to watch out for, bib number 1. At the front of the pack in the early stages, along with fellow Russian Andrei Feller and the Bulgarian Veselin Sintsov. The 30-kilometre is the marathon on the snow. The same pattern exists as for the runners. A lot of bunching early on, then the field begins to stretch. Some cracks already appearing at the 7.5k mark, quarter of the way through. Mikhail Semenov of Belarus, bib number 4, leading them, followed by bib number 8 Sintsov, Feller and the Norwegian Rune Ødegaard, number 5. Still early days in this race, so plenty of time for those leaders to drop away and for someone else to take up the baton. Coming through 12 kilometres, and it's Ødegaard, a student at the University of Colorado in Boulder, alongside Sintsov. Semenov still there, with Skobelev, an ominous presence next to him. Still 19 of the 69 skiers who started this race in the leading pack, albeit they're stretching out. Good news for the locals is number 8 Matti Pellegrin, who studies on the doorstep at the University of Trento, joins Sintsov, number 2, at the front. Semenov also up there. Over halfway now, and the pressure and the pace beginning to tell. Skobelev leading them through that checkpoint at 17.7k. 3 Russians in that first 6. Still 11 skiers in the reckoning. One of the Russians, number 10, Andrei Melnichenko, struggling to stay with them. Important to keep hydrated. Emil Vokuev, the man taking the drink. Into the last third of the race. Ødegaard, Feller, Skobelev and Pellegrin leading them through the checkpoint. Sintsov has dropped off, and the Norwegian Øyvind Feld has started to go backwards. With just 8 men left in this race for those 3 medals. The pace quickening as the skiers sense that the end is nigh. The field now down to 6. Feller, Skobelev, Pellegrin still looking strong at the front. Good news for the Italian fans. At this point though, the legs are aching, the arms are aching, the lungs are bursting. Now it's down to who has what left in the reserve tank, who has the desire to see this one through to the end. If the first 27 kilometres were all about survival, the last 3 are about racing, and it's Skobelev who is cranking up the pace. Feller with him, Pellegrin also hanging into the race. Just over a kilometre to go. Skobelev makes the big break. He was a member of the team that took silver in the 4x10 kilometre relay, now hoping to follow Artem Zhmurko and Maxim Vlegzhanin, winners at the last two editions, and make it a Russian hat-trick. The 22-year-old from Vologda Institute of Law and Economics opening the burners, stretching the field even more. The field can't respond. Skobelev winning it in 1 hour, 23 minutes, 14.2 seconds. Terrific victory for him. He was 2.4 seconds ahead of the fellow Russian Emil Vokyuev, and Andrei Feller securing a Russian clean sweep. Terrific performance from the Russian. Spare a thought for Matty Pellegrin, the Trento student, missing out on a medal on his home snow by 3 seconds. He has to make do with fourth place. Congratulations to the Russian trio of Vladislav Skobelev, Emil Vokyuev and Andrei Feller, the first clean sweep in the 30k event since the Soviets back in 1987. Snowboarding hit the slopes at the Universiade back in 1995, but the slopestyle is the latest discipline to join the party. It was supposed to make its debut in Erzurum in Turkey 2 years ago. The windy conditions meant it was cancelled, so it makes its official entrance into the Universiade here in Trentino on the slopes of Monte Bondone. It's overcast today. There's a fresh fall of snow. That is going to slow things down. Certainly not the easiest of conditions for the tricks and flicks required in slopestyle. Well, Tamara Truchon came into the women's final full of confidence after a very comfortable qualification. The 22-year-old from Laval University in Quebec nailed her opening run to sit in second place and relaxed on her second run to finish fourth. Come the final though, and a fall early on her first run dented that confidence, and another fall on her first jump of the second run saw the rest ebb away. By that point it was too late to recover. Score 34.25, the best the Canadian could muster. Fifth in overall she finished. Audrey McManamon was making her second appearance of these games, having come up short in the semi-finals of the half-pipe competition, 2 places away from a spot in the final. McManamon with great pedigree in this event though, having taken gold at the Youth Winter Olympics in Innsbruck in 2012. The 18-year-old from Segep Garneau in Quebec City aced qualification with a top score of 74.25, but then struggled in the final. Poor landing on the second jump of her first run, seeing her down the leaderboard with 51.5 points, and it would get even worse second time down. Caroline Herkel was another to miss out on the half-pipe finals, falling just 1 place short in the semis. No such problems here though for the 20-year-old Swiss from the University of Bern. Despite a poor opening run in qualifying, she managed 61.75 on her final run to qualify for the final in third place, just ahead of Truchon. Herkel, a big air specialist, winning a Europa Cup event on home snow in Engelberg in 2010. In the final, she was a model of consistency, 71.25, good enough for a medal position after the first run. The second run even better, 74.75 points, sewing up the bronze medal, but the top 2 were just out of reach. There would be 2 medals for Switzerland in this event, their first of the women's snowboarding events here in Trentino. Carla Someni came up just short in the half-pipe competition with a 5th place finish. In the slopestyle though, the 22-year-old from the University of Basel recovered from a poor opening qualifying run to finish second with a score of 65.25. In the final though, she would really hit that big air. Someni's opening run really impressed the judges, 78.25 points, well deserved for a full run of vim and vigour. Unable though to improve second time down, she went for broke, but that opener good enough for a silver medal. The gold medal though went to New Zealand, their first medal of any colour at these games. Natalie Good didn't exactly impress in qualification, an opening run worth 59.75 points, booking a spot in the final in 5th place. In that final though, the student from the University of Waikato in Hamilton was a completely different animal. Her opening run by far the best from any competitor throughout the event. Technique superb, daring in the air off the jumps. 81.25 points the score, making the Kiwi the only person to break the 80-point barrier and fully deserving of that gold medal. Superb performance from Natalie Good. and well deserving of becoming the first person to win the slopestyle amongst the women. That's how it finished. Good taking the bronze, silver for Switzerland, bronze for Switzerland, the Canadians 4th and 5th, and then a bunch of Americans to follow. Now the men also in action on Monte Bondoni, 17 competitors from 10 different countries. The Austrians took gold in the cross and the parallel giant slalom, and the Spaniard Ruben Vegas took the halfpipe. But who would come through the slopestyle? Well, Benedikt Kiss is a student at the Budapest Business School. He didn't quite get his spreadsheet right for this one. He qualified for the final in second spot with a best of 84.5, but he couldn't match that in the final. No problems with his opening run. The 21-year-old impressing the judges with work through the air and on the rail, enough to clock 76.50. That put him 4th overall. Unfortunately, his second run was littered with errors, just 25.50 points, and the Hungarian had to settle for 5th. The US had 4 men in the final, all of them from Westminster in Salt Lake City. Brolin Maweje and Mal Pryor fell by the wayside, literally, but computer science student Aidan Mellon pushed himself into contention with a first run of 78.75, far better than his qualifying mark of 71.75. Good enough for third at that point, unless someone else improved on their second run. They did, and Mellon could only muster a second run of 53. He missed out on a medal by coming in 4th position. Well, with the women going well, the Swiss had high hopes of a medal after Raphael Imhoff qualified 3rd for the final with a tick of 84.25. The 22-year-old, who's at college in Sierre, had already picked up bronze in the halfpipe, so confidence was high. He couldn't match his qualifying mark, but Imhoff did clock 81.25 to take a handle on the bronze medal position. The second run, as with most of the snowboarders, was worse, just 37.25, but he had still done enough to secure his second bronze medal of the Universiade. Another of the Salt Lake City gang, Billy Wandling, and his teammates practice in Olympic conditions. His qualifying, not so impressive, 5th best in 78 dead. He knew that a score of 80 plus would put him in the frame, however. The communications and marketing student flumping his opening run, just 66.5, had him well out of the medals, but a cracking second run scored him 84.75, and that was good enough to give him silver and knock his teammate Mellon off the podium. The Swiss were already pleased as punch to have taken the bronze medal through Imhoff in the men's, but the big prize still awaited them. Philippe Hanny from the University of Bern giving nothing away in qualifying, just 67.75. Good enough to get him into the final, but hardly going to have the opposition trembling at the knees. But his first round was the one that secured the gold medal, total control over the course, laughing in the face of the slow snow and the awkward jibs. He clocked 86.25 points on his first run, a point and a half more than Wandling in the second. Hanny's second run, not so pretty, but by then it didn't matter because at that stage the 24-year-old had become the first ever winner at the Universiade of the snowboarding slopestyle. Congratulations to him. So gold and bronze for the Swiss, silver for the USA. The slopestyle, a terrific addition to the Universiade program.
Faccio un passo, lui mi vede già fuggito. Respiro la nebbia, penso a te. No, che cosa sono adesso non lo so. Sono un uomo in cerca di se stesso. No, cosa sono adesso non lo so. Sono solo il suono del mio passo. E intanto il sole tra la nebbia filtra già. il giorno come sempre sarà.
Finals day in the women's ice hockey, and no surprise to see the all-conquering Canadian All-Stars in the mix and looking to make it a third consecutive gold medal, having beaten China in 2009 and Finland 2 years ago. This time they were up against Russia. Good record in the men's, but it's the first time they've really figured in the women's event, their first final. The Russians lost 2 matches in qualifying before turning the tables on the USA in the semis, but it's hard to see them getting past the Canadians, who've scored 72 goals in 6 games so far and conceded just 2. Their closest match so far, a 5-0 win against Russia in the preliminary round. The Canadians have eschewed the regional rotation system of selection favoured by the USA and have gone instead for an all-stars team. It's the best that the country's colleges have to offer. Funding has been difficult for some of the players, but the system has paid off. With a clinical, professional approach, the girls seeing this as a realistic step up towards the full national team. The opening goal came midway through the opening period, and it was a thing of some beauty. The Russians doing their best to lock up the defence. The Canadians like a set of crack burglars sniffing out a way through. Caitlin McDonald is out on the right side. It's her now. She puts the puck through the gap, and it's Jessica Pinkerton who produces a little touch of genius to deflect it in. Superb goal. Just check out the way that Pinkerton reaches for the puck. A stick between her legs. Not a simple deflection, a genuine shot. It really is a fantastic goal to put the Canadians 1-0 up. Well, the Russians had succeeded in keeping it tight during the first period in spite of that one goal, but they offered little in the way of attacking threat. The danger of sitting back like that is that sooner or later a good team is going to find a way through, and that's what happened in the second period. 10 minutes in, the criminology student Tatiana Rafter solving the case. That's her on the puck now, threading the puck back to Jenna Smith. A lovely weaving run through the back of the Russian defence, and that's 2-0 to the Canadians. Superb work between Rafter and Smith. And 6 minutes later, the Canadians were at it again. Rafter again involved in the build-up. This time she collects and moves towards goal, looking for her 8th goal of the tournament. Her shot, though, blocked by Oksana Afonina. A loose puck there for the taking, and it's Katja Clemonhedra who picks up the ricochet and fires home. Some celebrations already for the Canadians, who showed they weren't all grace and movement on the ice. Amanda Parkins with the body check on Anna Shakina. 2 minutes to cool her heels in the sin bin. Ananina, though, fine to carry on in the game. Into the third, and it was too comfortable for the Canadians. 52 shots on goal from them during the match. The Russians, just 12. 5 minutes from the end, the Canadians supplied the coup de grace with 2 goals in under a minute. First came another goalmouth scramble. It's the captain, Kim Deshane, who's been one of the stars of the team. Look out for her in the national team in years to come. Her effort here was blocked by the Russian goalie, Anna Progova. Got the puck going loose, and it's Laura Brooker who's left with the open goal. One of 3 Canadians to complete the tournament with 7 goals. From the restart, the Canadians came back up the Russian end. Gabby Davidson doing the hard work at the back. She brings it in, Rafter again causing trouble. Maria Kirilenko gets in the way, but Smith is there to bang home her second of the night. And that is Canada's fifth, and absolutely no doubt at all that the gold medal is going to be going back to Canada. They took it 5-0, a great moment for all the players and for coach Howie Draper. 77 goals scored, just 2 conceded in the tournament. No doubt at all that they are by far the best team in this competition. Special mention for Davidson, no goals in the final, but she leaves Italy as the tournament's top scorer with 13. So gold for Canada once again. That's 3 in a row for them now. Russia have to be content with the silver medal, while the United States of America take bronze after their win over Japan.
Katia Clement Hydra, Morgan Claire McAfee, Sophie Brawl,